Yesterday, I was hanging out with my sisters, all three of them, which like never happens. And my oldest sister, who is in perimenopause, was talking about what she's doing to help counteract the side effects of being in perimenopause. And she was talking about all the remedies, all the natural herbs, and foods that she's been eating to help balance her hormones. And the main food that has been incorporating to her diet is Blackstrap Molasses. And Blackstrap Molasses comes from sugarcane. And the process of making the white sugar that we consume is you have a sugarcane, you extract the molasses, and then you have the white sugar that is part of the processing. So you have in its natural form the molasses, and then you have the sugar. And I was like high, I was like on edibles and taking hits. So she was talking about all the benefits and how like Blackstrap Molasses helps to regulate the hormones. It's really high in iron and vitamin C, and it has trace minerals. It helps lower blood sugar. And then I'm having this moment where I'm just like, oh shit, from the same plant, you have something that is like helps to sustain your life, essentially, like what the body needs. And then on the opposite end of it, you have white sugar that is quite literally killing us and is the source of what's feeding our disease. It's, feeding our inflammation, the parasites, all this shit that is killing us. And having that awareness, like, fucked me up. And I was having this internal dilemma, and I'm just like, oh my God, like, I'm helping the problem. And, like, no, I'm not helping with the problem, but it was just, I'm just feeling like guilt for knowing that I have white sugar in some of my baked goods, the non-vegan gluten-free items. I have white sugar, and these two items are some of the popular items, and they've got a lot of sugar, and I'm gonna be really honest, like I don't even really eat them because it's a little bit too much sugar for me. Changing the sugar content, like the amount, the type of sugar, is going to completely change the recipe, and it's just not going to taste the same. I tried to like have an alternative sugar, like cane sugar instead of white sugar, and it's just like not the same at all. And the main reason why I started my business was to provide a healthier option. I have epilepsy. I've had it since I was 12. I didn't start taking medication until I was 30 years old. So it was 18 years of learning what my triggers were. My triggers are sugar, alcohol, which is a form of sugar, getting angry, with a combination of like dehydration and the lack of sleep. So for 18 years, I was just like aware of like what I needed to not do so I wouldn't have a seizure. And so it got to the point where the last seizure I had off of medication, I blacked out. They took me to the emergency room. They're just like, you need to get on meds. And I was just like, okay, I can do that. It doesn't mean that I can now start eating all this sugar and drinking all this alcohol. Like, absolutely not. It's not going to make my seizures go away. And just taking this medication, just putting a Band-Aid on it. I was listening to this podcast on my favorite podcast show called The Diary of a CEO. He has really great guests that come on. He had a guest on the show who's a doctor that specializes in insulin resistance, and he was naming all the different diseases and disorders that are a product of insulin resistance. And one of the disorders is epilepsy. They also mentioned Alzheimer's. And it was just like a huge aha. And it was just like, oh my God, duh. Obviously, it's an insulin resistant problem. Like, sugar is one of my triggers. Like, naturally, what is going to make these seizures come on would just be how much sugar do I have in my system? Like, how do I regulate it? So my main purpose for creating my business was to create alternatives for baked goods, because I couldn't eat the stuff that was around. And when I tried eating like vegan and gluten-free options, because I have a sweet tooth, like, a lot of it was just like loaded with sugar. And just because it's vegan or gluten-free does not mean that it's healthy for you. And a lot of the stuff had a lot of sugar. I'm just like, well, I can't eat this. I'm going to make something that I can eat. So that's just how I started my business. So I started my business because I knew that if I wanted an alternative to, whatever the options were, that there are other people that would also want to have healthier options for baked goods. And I don't use any white sugar or brown sugar in my vegan gluten-free option baked goods. Also, white sugar isn't vegan, by the way. So what I do use is dehydrated cane juice sugar and coconut sugar and maple syrup. I would love to use monk fruit sugar because it has, I believe, the lowest glycemic index, and I believe that coconut sugar is second. But monk fruit sugar is not great for baking. Like, it has like a pretty bitter taste when it's baking it. It's just like, it's not good. There are also like other issues I'm not gonna get into with it, but yeah, so these are my three main alternatives for using white sugar. And I notice a difference in my body when I eat my baked goods versus this, like, you know, store-bought regular with like all the sugar and the stuff in it. And I noticed that, you know, my sweet tooth is also decreased. Like, I don't want to eat as many sweet things, and if I do, like, I feel just better knowing that what is in my things is not gonna give me gonna affect my body in a big way. So I'm just saying all of this to say that it's really important that we are aware of what we're putting in our bodies. I grew up with the understanding that you could absolutely heal yourself with just what's in your cabinet. And, you know, Western medicine is not supporting our health. Like, it's really important that we start to take charge and not rely on doctors to heal us, and really look at alternatives, look at the food, the natural source of the food, to be able to heal our bodies, because that is how we're going to be able to be healthy. And, you know, remedies from like ancient cultures and just what our grandmas are telling us, like, you should be doing this, like, they know what they're talking about. Drink that clove water, you know, eat those okras, like, drink that Blackstrap Molasses in the morning. Like, it's like how you have your coffee with your whatever the fuck you're eating. Drink that Blackstrap Molasses and get those nutrients, get that trace mineral, get that iron. And I just hope that also, as people, talking about Black people, we can also just take responsibility for our health. The system does not support us, and they will never support us in getting healthy. And it's really important that we just take our responsibility and start doing it for us. So right now I'm making a coconut cheese pudding for my grandma, and I'm home right now in Harlem. And my mom asked me to like make her or give her a recipe for like a chia seed pudding. She can't eat a lot of things. She's 99, I'm going to be 100 in like 2 months. And so yeah, her diet's quite limited. She can't eat sugar. And so what I'm putting in this particular chia seed pudding is maple syrup. So I've got the cocoa powder, banana, maple syrup, canned coconut milk, and some coconut, shredded coconut, and some walnuts. Our health is our wealth, and it's really important that we take charge and take responsibility for what we're putting in our bodies, because we're the only people that can control that. We need to learn how to utilize what Mother Earth has given us, because there's so much there, and we can just heal ourselves by just what we're consuming or what we're not consuming. And it's important to just like maintain our vitality. So this is somewhat of a PSA of stop eating sugar. And I mean, like, let's be honest, like, we're not going to stop eating sugar, but, you know, we can eat less, we can eat, you know, healthier versions of sugar, like whatever the fuck that means, just, you know, not white sugar. That's like, it's literally killing us. And, you know, if we're going to live this life, like, let's live it and be healthy.